And let's go from the world of sport to the world of theatre. Louis Viljoen is, I think, one of South Africa's most exciting playwrights. Louis does not do boring. Louis does unconventional. Louis does brilliant. And his latest work, The Grass Widow, starts at the Baxter's Masambe Theatre next week, and it stars Emma Kotze as the only actor. Hello, Emma.
Hi, John.
I've been lucky enough to do a one-actor play for Louis, so I know how difficult it is to answer the question, what's it about? You know, when people said to me, what's the Outlaw Muckrich about? I went, not quite sure how to answer that. But The Grass Widow, I mean, how would you describe it to somebody who was sort of vaguely interested in knowing what it was about?
It's funny you asked, John, because I did dread the question. Without giving too much away, because I guess that's always the thing, as you know Louis' work, that it really unpacks a character and the character's thoughts, and that is really where the crux of the story lies. But in short, it's a character study that takes a look at a character and two life events that occur, and how those shape her, and essentially the depths to which she would go to right wrongs as she sees it.
Okay. And you can't tell us what those two life events are.
It would be giving away too much. But with Louis' permission, I could say that essentially a very strong character trait of the character is she must not be crossed, or something that's distinct of her. So it is cases in which she feels it necessary to seek to right wrongs in her eyes.
You almost said to seek revenge.
That's almost what I said, but I didn't.
Thought better of it. Do you only play the one character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but the story is told from multiple perspectives, but at the same time, her perspective.
Okay, it's a Louis Viljoen play.
It's a Louis Viljoen play.
And, I mean, Louis directing it as well. And I don't think I've ever had an experience of being directed in a one-person show by the author of a new work. And it must add an extra level of excitement, because in that rehearsal process, you work out that maybe the script needs to go somewhere else, that the dialogue needs to be slightly different. So it's not a workshop experience per se, but it's also not a pure rehearsal period, learn the lines and I'll tell you how to say them and where to move kind of experience.
Yes, for sure. And it's interesting. I obviously can't speak from Louis' perspective, but it is very interesting as the actor. It's the second time that I've worked with Louis as the writer and director in the room. And I'm sure that some things unfold for him that sound different to what he thought it would sound. But as the actor, it is really incredible to, especially because the script is so meaty and you deal with quite literally so many words, and the guiding hand of the writer in the room is fantastic, and it really aids in the creative process more than I would say it is something to fear. It makes it a lot of fun, and bashes out a lot of things that would have caused uncertainty otherwise. But you can get straight to the point, quite clear on what a specific set of things mean, or unpack themes or manners of saying that.
Yeah. Okay. Haven't seen this play. I'll see it next week. But mine, the Outlaw Muckridge, the one before that, the Hucksters and previous players, he asks a lot of his performers. There are a lot of words, and you have to make those words sound not wordy. He asks you to go deep. He asks you to really search inside of yourself for those difficult emotions. And you're doing this in the Masambe, which is a very, very small place. So you're not physically naked, but emotionally you are, as a performer and as a character in that kind of space, in this kind of play, you really are, I think, very vulnerable. And that vulnerability has to be honest, because any kind of artificiality in your performance in a play like this, in a space like that, is going to show.
Yes, for sure. And I think the previous time we worked together on a play that was equally challenging was in what was the Alexanderbaan Theatre, and that was even smaller. And it's interesting having these two experiences, both in very intimate theatres, And I really actually can't imagine it any other way, because as you say, it is extremely wordy, and to really, really ring home and engage the audience in the sea of words and all of the meaning that comes with that, and obviously the story. It is quite a privilege to be able to tell it in a story a story like that in a space where your audience is close and you can hold them close. And
just to sort of deal with anybody who might be going extremely wordy, that doesn't sound good. He has this incredible ability to write language in a unique way, to use language, to use metaphor, to use swear words in the most extraordinarily creative way. So it's that kind of, almost that Quentin Tarantino heightened dialogue that he's so on top of.
Yeah, I think heightened is the right way of describing it, and that's what makes it, John, so fun as an actor, is that you really get to spend the time to grapple with that, so that, as you say, it's not an experience of words only, despite the fact that obviously on paper it's words, but that you can take the audience with you. It's great fun to make it come alive.
Yeah, look, you're not going to make a lot of money out of this. Louis not going to make a lot of money out of it. And yet my guess would be that when Louis offered it to you, you leapt at it, because that's what people who enjoy being on stage, when they get an opportunity to get their hands and their mind and their heart onto a meaty script, none of that stuff matters. You say, I want to do this. I want to say these words on stage.
Yes, for sure. It's a exercise in that sense, and that it can't be missed. The opportunity to flex your muscles in that way and practice your skills in that manner, that you really, as much as one wants money to also play a part, you can't really put a value to it, because it is such a great learning experience, and you grow so much as a performer when doing a work like that.
Don't know you terribly well. I've only met you once before this, but I suspect that you're not somebody who wants always to be right. So I suspect there might be quite a difference between Emma, the individual, and what's the character's name in The Grass Widow?
She actually doesn't have a character. Ach, name, yeah.
So how deep do you have to reach? How difficult a role has it been to find the authentic emotions that you need to do?
That's an interesting question, because it's as much as the character's very far from who I am, that's just the wonder of Louis' writing, is that, if you let the script do the work, then it's quite easy to get there. It's obviously there are things that, never mind whether my personality is like that or not, I won't physically do the same things the character does. So that is always a challenge as an actor. But given her thought pattern and given her course of action, the script really, it guides you, and it really is so wonderful in that sense.
What's it like to be an actress at a time like this? How did you cope during COVID, where the theatrical profession was probably one of the worst, if not the worst, affected of all of the money-making rackets in South Africa? And how did you cope, and are you coming out of that? Is the industry... There's quite a lot of theatre on at the moment, which is really exciting. Looking forward to seeing Hansard, looking forward to seeing the Sophocles, which Jenny Resnick and Mark Fleischman are doing with Andrew Buckland and others. So there's stuff starting to happen.
Yeah, it was incredibly tough. Obviously, the financial thing is what it is, but it was a heartache and heartbreak, because the thing that we already had made so many sacrifices to be, at a certain part in your career, it comes with great sacrifice, and you make that sacrifice because you love the medium so much, and it's ripped from you. It was this interesting thing between obviously the immediate concern of financial implications and an industry that looked like it was about to completely collapse in South Africa in particular. But then, the personal journey and Louis and I actually spoke about that quite a lot, is that heartbreak and loss in this thing that you have to be in love with in order to do it, and not being able to do it.
Yeah, that is Emma Kotze. She is the Grass Widow of the title of Louis Viljoen's new play, The Grass Widow, which is on at the Masambe Theatre, which is the one right downstairs at the Baxter Theatre complex from the 31st of January to the 12th of February, an age restriction of 18 years. Tickets via
web tickets.
Okay.
Or you can also check it out on our website, which is thegrasswidow.co.za.
Look forward to it very much, Emma. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, John.